still in place, what Erica described, so if you come up to the mic, public comments at this time. Hi, come on up.
I'd like to say good evening to all. My name is Tyrone Robinson, 1488 Heather Place, Upper Potts Grove, PA. The township has not been funding the Pottstown Public Library for the past 3 years. My question is why? Also, are there monies allocated for the library for the year 2025? Also, while I'm here, I'd like to make a statement as far as the township building. I know the board said they made it public, but to the residents that I have spoken to, they were not aware, and nobody was aware that you originally wanted to build on open space. And had you made that public, was if the public could have been, our residents could have been better informed, we wouldn't be spinning our wheels the way we are now. Because maybe people would have came to that agreement of building on open space, but because of the way it was done, nobody's in agreement with it. The residents you talk to have the residents here raise their hand and see who wants to build on open space. Now maybe you want to build in another area now, but look at all the monies that have been spent and nothing's done. Also, would you make public the amount of monies that have been paid in court fees and attorney fees during this whole disagreement with the township building? Thank you.
Thanks. There's another hand up there. Yes, sir.
Jim Kapinski, 1958 Yarnell Road. First, I want to thank our fire company for their annual Santa run. Thanks again. The paper that I gave you right now are from an email that I sent to everybody in December, but I don't think anybody took my advice. If I run a red light, will a police officer permit me to back up and do it over again, like it never happened? This is exactly what happened with what the township did with 2290 Gilbertsville Road. The township had an advertised public hearing, and 3 of the commissioners voted to use the open space taxpayers' money to buy the property. This was after a commissioner, Kathy, and a public comment by me advising them to pay it with the general fund so it could be used for a proposed municipal complex in the future. Then, the 3 commissioners that voted to use the open space money recently voted at a BOC meeting without a public hearing to transfer money from the general fund to the open space fund, thinking they can now use Gilbertsville Road for the proposed municipal complex. Once you purchase a property with open space taxpayers' money, the property now falls under the PA Open Space Lands Act. You just can't wave a wand and use it as you please. You didn't listen to me in 2022 when I told you to get a court order before you spent taxpayers' money on the smaller farm. 2 years later, and over hundreds of thousands of dollars of taxpayers' money, the Montgomery County Court of Common Pleas rules against the township. Please listen to me now. Before you spend any more taxpayers' money on Gilbertsville Road, please read the Open Space Land Act to see what you have to do to legally use it. It includes putting a question on a ballot and having the public vote on it because it's now open space. And this can be done at the upcoming election. I remember the good old days. Now, if Michelle was here, she'd probably remember them too. I would stop in the township office and ask for files or documents. I would sit in this room and put paper clips on the documents, give them back to Michelle or Cindy, and they'd make copies for me, and I would pay them. No rights to know request. Regarding legal fees for rights to know requests, if you don't answer questions at public meetings, it generates rights to know requests. If you don't answer questions sent to you, it generates rights to know requests. If you sue taxpayers and others, it generates rights to know requests,
15
and they
seconds.
cost a lot of money. And why do I have rights to know requests? Every one have to be reviewed by Eric. I recently read an article in the Upper Pottsgrove Journal, and it talked about executive sessions.
Your
It
time's up.
disclosed in the executive
Time's
section
up, time's up.
what
Time's up.
happened.
But I do have something for you. Jim, can you pass that down? John, can you hand that to Jim? There's your petition, you need 10 signatures, from the 18th to the 11th of March, you've got 10 signatures to run for commissioner.
Okay.
Hope to see you there at election time. Other comments? Yes, sir.
Rich Comer, 1303 Farmington Avenue. Just a question on the upcoming year. Is Farmington Avenue paving project completely out of the question? And if so,
I'm sorry, which road?
Farmington Avenue.
Farmington.
And if so, what's the plan on that? Next question is, what roads are being picked to be paved this upcoming year? Because I know the side road at my house is absolutely terrible. And also, how many roads do we pave in the last 4 years? So it just seems like the roads are deteriorating and we still need to have that done. So just kinda wondering what's gonna be done.
Thanks, Rich. Others?
Martin Schreiber, 138 Rose Valley Road. I noticed when you appointed the first person on the planning commission, you gave them a 4-year term, and then that disappeared afterwards. You never associated term limits with the next people, and I think that should be in the minutes, so that way there's no confusion later on. And thank you for bringing back the planning commission.
Yes, ma'am.
My name is Julie Schneeweiss. I'm at 330 Summer Grove Lane. First of all, I wanted to say thank you to the board for all the work that they've done toward the artesian projects. I think I mentioned before in a previous speaking that having that many housing units put into our area would be significantly detrimental to quality of life for everyone there, the wildlife, the charm that is Upper Pottsgrove. Finding people who have supported that is, in my world, doesn't exist. I don't know a single person that wants to see a lot of buildings go in there, so I really wanted you all to know how much I and my community really appreciate that you guys really went out on a limb and stood up there against a lot of ridicule and a lot of arguments to protect our community, so. And I'd like to thank the fire department for Santa too.
Thank you. Other comments? Seeing no public comments closed, commissioner comments.
Did you want to speak, Bob?
No, mine's not.
Not to be flip, but I just want to know that I don't have any handlers. Okay? From what Trace said about me.
What's that?
I have no handlers, Trace.
Okay. Others?
I'm just gonna use this to answer a few questions from my perspective only. I'm not representing the whole board here. To Jim Kapinski's questions about the Gilbertsville Road property. We sat in 2 settlement conferences with the plaintiffs. One of them was brokered by a president judge of Montgomery County Coluccio. They all told us the same thing, just put it there and exchange the money like we did. That was their idea. Coluccio's idea, she says, just do this. They put it in writing, we have it in writing. You know, we sat there and said, we don't wanna do it like that, but we said, what else can we do? Again, we're not even sure we're building on there, but those were recommendations made to us by the plaintiffs and the president judge, who was there, who gave us a settlement conference, an extensive one at that. And we were in chambers with her, they were in chambers with her, she did a great job, and she did everything she could to broker that, and that's what she came up with. I'm sorry, Rich, about paving Farmington Avenue, that was the other thing I was on my threat list for Upper Pottsgrove. For some reason, due to nobody's fault on this board, we took that back from the state. It is not, it used to be a state road, we wouldn't have to pave it. Now we're looking at paving it. Some brilliant commissioner in the past took it back probably for a couple $100,000, and now we're looking at $1 million paving project. The answer to you, Rich, is I don't know, but we are well aware that is a priority. It's just, we got initial, Kevin, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we're at $1 million in that one. Is that about right?
And I think just, I think it was half of it, we weren't even proposing.
No, it was part of it. It was, the second thing is, we approve minutes all the time here, and honestly, I look at the minutes just for mistakes, for things that didn't happen, but I really don't read them. I read through them, I was part of them, so I know what's going on, but if you actually read the minutes, you really cannot tell kind of what the township is doing. I have to admit that, and some things you can. So we try to improve upon that as of January. At least I put an idea forward. On major items, I started to do press releases. I'm horrible at doing them. Thank God we have ChatGPT, because it helps me along with that. But, you know, I put out press releases, I sent a complimentary copy to Evan. We post them in the journal. We've got a lot of interesting news stories coming. One's queued up, it was supposed to be done today, but maybe early this week we'll get it done. And we post them in the journal, but we want to give you a bigger look at, if you're interested in township stuff, we're trying to get that out there. There's an email address that you can reply to if you want to have any comments, how to do it better, but we're trying. Again, for 3 years I've been approving these minutes. I don't read them from the public perspective, I read them from the commissioner, but it doesn't tell the whole tale. I know Jeannie does her best to get there. And like I said, we've got some interesting stuff coming up, and they're gonna be very complicated subjects with numbers and history, and I look forward to doing them, but as I said to my friend Evan, please criticize them if they lack something. Thank you.
Others? Okay, just to remind everybody, for the commissioners, we represent over 6,000 people, 4,130 registered voters, not just the folks that come to this meeting in the past or in the future. So when we make those decisions, it's for the entire community. We will now have an executive session. We are now adjourned. Thank you, everybody.